Hey, what's up? We are back to another tier list video because I honestly feel like it's videos I want to do more of, even though I've done plenty and you guys don't watch it, but oh well. Um, so we just recently had Alien Romulus come out, and I've seen it now, and well, I saw it a couple days ago, though it'll be a lot longer by the time you're watching this. But I really wanted to do an alien tier list, and I decided I'll wait till Romulus comes out, and now it's out, so now it's time. Um, so yeah, here's all the Alien movies, all 9 films. Well, it's 7, and then you also have the Alien versus Predator movies to take into consideration. I did think about maybe throwing the Predator films as well, but I mean, I like some of the Predator movies, but I like Predator and Prey, but they're just not that cool. Um, so yeah, I'm much more of an Alien fan. Just you might be surprised to hear this. I'll say this right away, but I actually like most of the movies. Um, but yeah, they're not all good, of course. So yeah, not too much other preamble I can think of, except the fact that some of my tier list videos have been pretty long. I don't think this will be that long. I don't have as much to say about Alien, about these movies, but yeah. Um, Shoot, I actually should have decided. I was wondering what order I wanted to go in, but because I don't want to do chronological, because if I do chronological, it'll end with Resurrection. I don't want to end with that, so we'll just do it in release order. Yeah, these tiers work all right for what they are. Um, yeah, we'll just do it in release order. Without further ado, here's my opinion on Alien. Of course, feel free to disagree with me. I'm sure you will on some of this. So yeah, we'll start with the original Alien, and you can probably figure out. But yeah, it's an S tier, easy S tier. Here, yep, I don't think I'll ever forget my first time watching it a couple of years ago, where I was uh, I was like into it the whole time. I was shocked how it's not. It's like I knew Aliens was more of an action movie, but I was surprised how slow paced Alien was, and like there's so much panning, and it really takes its time. It really feels like an extended edition, honestly, but I don't really mind that because the atmosphere and the characters are really well done. You really do feel the dread. Like you always get the feeling something's gonna come out and mess with the characters, and of course the alien design really iconic. And oh, another thing I really liked about it was that it wasn't clear at first who the main character was. I knew Ripley was the main character, but I didn't know. But of course, if I had seen it back in 1979, if I was alive back then, I definitely wouldn't have figured out. Oh, she's the main character. Like they do a really good job introducing these characters, and you're not sure who will die, and then they all die except Ripley. And then there was of course the twist with Ash being an android, which is pretty cool. And yeah, not much else. It's a sci-fi horror movie. Does a really good job at that and scaring you. And that oh, and of course that whole chest burster scene, one of the most iconic scenes in film history. Everybody knows that. So now we move on to Aliens, which of course might be one of my unpopular opinions. I'm not sure, but Aliens is better. I'm I when I did that Everything Wrong with CinemaSins video on Aliens, I ended that video by saying Aliens is better. One comment disagreed with me. I mean, he respectfully, of course, but yeah. I mean, I like horror, but I just like action more. It's just the me thing. I just like how much more action packed and Aliens is. I just like how it has more fun characters. You have Ripley being more cool. Well, and you have Hicks and Bill Paxton's character being really fun. Vasquez. Um, Newt was somebody you wanted to see be okay. Burke was hateable, of course, and again, just a lot more action packed. Like so many, oh, that's cool moment. I mean, it's a James Cameron movie too. I like a lot of James Cameron's movies. I mean, my favorite movie of all time is Terminator 2, so you can see why I like this one. And yeah, it is basically the Terminator 2 of Alien, where it's bigger and better. At least for me, it's better. And really good sequel too. The fact that they explore, oh, the xenomorphs, where did they come from? Oh, they come from this queen, leading to a really cool boss fight at the end with Ripley in that robot suit, and get away from her, you know. Um, yeah, Aliens is for me a masterpiece. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm of course you can disagree with me if you think Alien is better. I mean, I see why, but it's just a personal preference for me. I just think Aliens is better and more entertaining too. Um then we come to not a good one, Alien 3, which D is a little too harsh, but it's C. Yeah. Alien 3 is definitely I hesitate to say stinker, but I really want to. Like, I've noticed it does have somewhat of a following. Like, some people do appreciate the movie for what it is. I mean, it was David Fincher's first movie, and you can definitely see his directorial influence all over the place. You can definitely, it's a well-made movie. It's a well-directed movie, and it does try and recapture Alien with its slow pace and horror stuff. Problem is, I just still can't get over that opening scene. That opening scene where they reveal Hicks and Newt died in between movies. Like, that was so dumb. Like, I still can't get over that. How dumb that decision was. Like, I've seen people say they like Alien 3. I have not seen a single person defend not Ripley, Newt and Hicks dying like that. And Ripley dies at the end too, which, I mean, okay, I guess I kind of like that. She sacrifices herself because she's got a xenomorph inside of her. Okay, but something about it just fell off. Something about it just didn't really work for me. I can't really explain what it is. And yeah, and also just the fact that going from Aliens to 3, like, it's such a weird downgrade. Oh, big action pack. There's a lot of xenomorphs we have to fight. Alien 3 just goes back to one alien. It's like, this is a bit of a downgrade, you guys. Like, what was, like, I don't know what happened. I honestly don't know. Like, I definitely respect David Fincher and his directing and all that, but I just can't get over the way it killed Newt and Hicks. Like, come on. Um, and then we have Alien Resurrection, which I feel like is a bit harsh to put in D because I barely remember it. But like, if I could just make another tier where I say I don't remember it, because yeah, so I can at least be fair, you know. But yeah, from what I remember about Resurrection, haven't seen it in over a year. I just remember Ripley coming back, or at least they say they cloned her, and yeah, that's all I remember, and it's weird. Like, what was up with that? Like, it's like they wanted to bring the goodwill of the like. Oh, people didn't like she died in 3. Let's try and bring her back. We're gonna bring her back, but it's not the same Ripley. It's a clone of her. She has like xenomorph blood in her, and they don't really. Okay, it's such a weird thing they did. And yeah, I honestly don't remember what else there is to say. It's definitely a movie I might have to rewatch sometime because I don't remember it at all. Oh, like I do it did try to be more like Aliens, more action packed, I think. But yeah, yeah. So it's not good. I just know it's not good. It's hailed as one of the weakest movies in the series. So yeah, I think that's good enough to put it down here. Though again, I might, if I watch it again, I might enjoy it more, but who knows. Then we have Alien versus Predator, which is of course not canon because I mean it doesn't really make sense to have Alien crossover with Predator, but whatever. It's a non-canon film that has the two fight, and I kind of like it. I'll put it in B. I kind of liked AVP. It's not amazing. Like I'm a little surprised it's remembered as kind of a bad movie, and I'm like, I mean, I kind of liked it. I wouldn't really say it's underrated. It's not that. It's not very good, but I kind of liked it. I kind of enjoyed it for what it was. But again, I wouldn't say it's underrated. Like you still have some really forgettable human characters. I do remember the first 30 minutes or so was a slog because it was just like, oh my gosh, it's just these human characters. I don't care. And then when it actually gets to the Alien v Predator action, the rest of the movie I thought was a lot more enjoyable, and it flew by really fast, and I was like, this is really fun. Seeing, okay, Predator versus an alien, that's already cool, but then you have him fight a freaking alien queen. I'm like, okay, that's sick. Come on. And I do like the lore they created in this it's fan fiction because it's not canon, but like they created this lore where the Predators like created this temple where they fight xenomorphs in because Predators have this whole thing with hunting. That's one of their main tributes in their own movies. So it's like that's honestly a really fun idea, and I honestly don't mind the main girl like teaming up with the Predator. I thought, sure, why not? Because I mean, some of the other Predator movies did show they have a conscience, and yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was. As I'm kind of surprised people don't enjoy it or don't rate it a little higher, but I'm not losing sleep saying that you should like it more. If I don't know if that made any sense, but then we have Aliens versus Predator Requiem. That unlike Resurrection, I know Requiem is a definite D, maybe even F. It's bad. It is so freaking boring. It's like I kinda liked the beginning where we see the xenomorph come out of the Predator. Like, oh cool, it's a crossover between a xenomorph and a Predator. But then after that, it's just so freaking boring and way too dark too. Like visually, the whole chunk of the movie takes place at night, and it's just so freaking dark. Like, it's baffling why they shot so much of the movie in the dark. I don't get it. And again, I don't give a crap about the humans. And does anybody like this movie? I haven't seen a single person say they like this. I've seen people say they like all the other movies. Yes, even Resurrection. I've seen somebody say they like Resurrection. I have not seen a single person say they like Requiem because it's bad. So, yeah, not much else to say there. Then we move on to the two prequel films, which, heads up, this might have some more controversial opinions, but here we go. Prometheus. I really like Prometheus. I'll put it in A. Yeah, I actually do really like Prometheus. So you have Ridley Scott, of course, coming back to direct, and he wanted to. One thing I really respect about Prometheus, it's not like a big nostalgia fest. Like, it comes out like decades after the original movie, so people are more nostalgic for it. But Prometheus isn't really trying to make you go, "Hey, remember that?" It tries to be its own thing. It tries to expand some lore in the franchise. It tries to do its own thing. Like the whole thing, of course, with these humans finding their creators and trying to figure out, oh, why did you create us? Of course, there's a bit questioning the meaning of life, obviously, and tie it in with Alien a little. Well, I mean, you have with some sci-fi horror stuff thrown in there, um, and you I like it. I like the lore they add. It's fascinating. Like I do find myself wanting to know more about what exactly is going on here, and I know it does leave some unanswered questions. I know that, but honestly, I don't really mind. I don't mind too much of it. Like I can figure out some of it. Um, I guess the one question they never really answered was why were the engineers heading to Earth to blow it up. They didn't really answer why, but I can just assume, oh, they just don't like how humans turned out, so they want to start over, something like that. Kind of like how God wiped out people when with Noah's Ark just so he could start over, kind of like that. That's just what I kind of assumed. Um, and and of course you have David, of course, best character in the movie. He's the way he's fascinated with humans, and Michael Fassbender is slowly becoming one of my favorite actors with this and Magneto, and yeah, not too much else I could think of with Prometheus. And then we of course have Alien Covenant, which I also really really like. I'll even say I like it better than Prometheus. Yeah, that's gonna be a little bit of controversial opinion there, but yeah, I like Covenant. I like it continues the story of Prometheus, but I feel like Ridley Scott did hear the complaints from Prometheus about how it's barely connected to Alien, doesn't really have a xenomorph, so he put a xenomorph in Covenant, but he still wanted to continue the story that he wanted to tell, starting with Prometheus, and so he does that, like the whole thing with David recreating a xenomorph, and honestly, it's really cool, and I like the human characters in Covenant more, like Daniels and Danny McBride's character. I thought was gonna be more comedian, but he's actually pretty serious most of the time, and I was like, yeah, I kind of like that, and I also like Billy Crudup's character, or and also Walter was in this one, and I like the whole dynamic with David and Walter, and David, of course, has that whole god complex where he basically wants to end humanity. For me, David is the most fascinating character in this whole franchise, where he basically starts questioning should humans be around after the engineers wanted to blow them up, and basically he created the xenomorphs to accomplish that for him. And kill humans by impregnating them and having a xenomorph come out and kill them all. Oh, like I just think that's really interesting, and yeah, and also it's a lot more of a sci-fi horror, or horror, definitely. I feel like it's the most violent movie out of the whole franchise. I feel like it might be because, yeah, just that whole bit where the thing comes out of the back and then one comes out of a guy's mouth with the blood splattering everywhere. Or just, oh boy. Yeah, that's me on Covenant. And then we have the latest film in the series, Alien Romulus, which, I mean, okay, actually, I should have said this but first. I really wish we had seen at least one more prequel movie, at least one more film. But sadly, of course, a lot of people didn't like it. Box office wasn't there, so then we got Romulus instead. And yeah. Yeah, let's do spoilers. A spoiler warning for Romulus if you haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I'll say that right now. I liked the Romulus. I wouldn't say I liked it as much as Prometheus and Covenant, but Romulus was good. It definitely a little bit more fan servicey, but I didn't mind too much of it. It does. It actually is sort of a mesh between Alien and Aliens. Some of it, where like the first half of it is very slow, not maybe not slow paced, but like horrific, where it has that same dark atmosphere and you're dreading something coming out. And then the second half is of course a little bit more action packed, act with the characters fighting the xenomorphs, and it's really fun. It does these two halves, it combines them really well, I feel. And it has some new action scenes that I've never seen before, and I was like, and I'm like, some of these I'm just like, dude, these are really cool ideas, and I have to wonder why none of the other movies have done that before. Like the whole thing where, oh, face huggers, they only go after you if because they sense your temperature, body temperature. That answered a question I thought in my head, where I was thinking, why don't face huggers just go on to androids? And they answered that, oh, because body temperature. Like, okay, actually that makes sense. And you have that scene where they have to sneak past a room of they have to go in a room of face huggers and sneak past them. And they had to like bring the temperature to the same to the same so they wouldn't detect them. It was a really intense scene. And then you of course had the whole bit with zero gravity, where everything's floating. The main girl is shooting them all. Oh, okay, simple enough. But they still have acid blood. There's plenty of acid blood just floating, and they have to like navigate through it. And that's again one of those things where I'm like, how come that's an idea that none of the other movies have done before? That's really cool. Well, and of course, and I also do like the idea of xenomorph like DNA combining with an already pregnant woman's baby, like forming a new species, and that's the climax in the movie. I was like, okay, that's really cool. Um, the reason why I don't rank it a little over Prometheus and Covenant is because it's definitely more fan servicey. It does try to appeal more towards nostalgia, like they straight up have "get away from her, you know that line." They straight up say it again, and I just thought Ripley said it better. But worse than that is they use CG to resurrect the late Ian Holm to have Ash. Well, he's not even Ash. It's a different android that has Ash's face, and it's like, why did you need to do that? I still don't get it. Like, it's not Ash. So, and like androids have had multiple different faces. You didn't need to use CG to resurrect the late Ian Holm. You could have just had anybody else. But why did you have to bring him back? And like they could have just hired another actor and it would have been fine. I don't get it. Like all it did was make me think, that's a little uncomfortable seeing the face of an actor I know is dead. So yeah, it's weird, but other than that, Romulus is still really good, and it did make me really curious to see where this franchise goes from here. Like, we don't know what other Alien movies we'll get afterwards. Probably more spin-offs. I can imagine that. Just more adventures of humans versus xenomorphs, and it'll come up with other cool action scenes. I'm okay with that. Again, I do wish we had more prequel films, but I'll just move on from that. And I guess it would be cool to see Sigourney Weaver come back as Ripley at some point. Like she's doing Avatar, so so it wouldn't be the first sci-fi. So like the fact that she's doing Avatar right now is like, okay, you can still bring her back for another sci-fi franchise. So I wouldn't mind seeing her again at some point. I've heard ideas that they could do a sequel to Aliens and just disregard 3 and Resurrection, have Ripley with Newton Hicks alive, and that would be cool. But admittedly, that'll probably never happen. But oh well. Um, we'll see where this franchise goes from here, and yeah, that'll be it for now. So peace.